Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Off the Scales Fishing. Hope all is well out there, guys. Today we're talking Thermocline. Let's get into it. All right. So, Thermocline. Thermocline is a pretty important thing to look for this time of year. And the reason why Thermocline is so important is because you guys don't want to be fishing a bunch of dead water. I mean, summertime fishing is hard enough as it is. So you guys are probably wondering what the Thermocline is, and it's a transition between the mixed surface water and the cooler water beneath it, or the cooler water deeper. And here's a perfect example, you guys. You be out at the lake or, swimming in the summertime when it's hotter, and I know you guys have felt like, when you dive deep or you get a little deeper, you'll feel that cooler water on your feet. So the Thermocline, is right in the middle of that. So that's an example for you guys. I know everybody has felt that before, them cooler spots, in the water in the summertime. And when you hit some of them cooler spots, you're like, ooh, wee, that feels good, man. Give me some more of that. Because man, in the summertime, the water is just like freaking bath water. So man, it feels so good when you hit some of the cool spots. I know you guys can relate. Thermocline is also a great indicator of how deep schools of bass will be or fish will be. So ways you can find your Thermocline in your body of water is simply turn up your sensitivity on your graph, and it'll show, in the water column there, it'll show the Thermocline. So basically, as the summer drags on, with water temps on the rise, it will be depleting with oxygen, and that will play a huge role on how bass will live and where they'll be at in the water. They're not going to be below the Thermocline because it's just not conducive to life. So that means their main forage, their bait fish, won't be below the Thermocline as well. So typically, you find the bait, you find the bass. So, I mean, that's kind of how it works in the summertime. These bass will sit on this bait, all summer long, or be close to them, depending on, what structure they're sitting on. I mean, even some bass will just stay on bait all summer long. They just really don't want to move around a lot right now. They're definitely getting lethargic. So, this time of year, man, typically you really have to earn your bites. As far as like, this really doesn't apply too much to your current driven fish, like your river system, lakes, things like that, because current, produces oxygen already. So, it doesn't really apply to those fish. But usually like your grassier lakes or your river system lakes, if you guys can fish the river, if you have a close river by, it usually always fishes a little bit better in the summertime. So even though summer fishing can be challenging, these are the times that you learn patience and become a better angler. But I basically have two categories that that I like to fish, or two spectrums, if you will, as far as baits are concerned. First category is think big everything. Your big spoons, big jigs, big worms, big shaky heads, things like that. Big swim baits. Big underspins, bigger baits can, trigger a bigger bite. Kind of the opposite side of the spectrum is finesse everything. Your drop shots, your Nico rigging, wacky rigging, small shaky heads, things like that, So that's kind of my two categories when it comes to summertime fishing. Either you can go after, throw everything big, or, if they're not biting the big thing, just go ahead and switch right up to the finesse technique. Usually this time of year, they've had everything thrown at them but the kitchen sink. So, that's why I say just either think big or just completely stop that. If they're not biting that stuff, go to your finesse techniques, because, 9 times out of 10, they're going to bite the finesse stuff. But if you're looking for a bigger bite, it just depends on the day. But those are kind of the two categories that I stay in. I kind of get away from a lot of moving baits. A lot of it is going to be more bottom contact baits, things like that. So also kind of wanted to talk about, being mindful of the fish and fish care, this time of year. Super important that if you are catching them in the depths this time of year, it's pretty rough on them, just like it is us out there fishing. If you catch a nice one or whatever, make sure you take your pictures a little bit quicker than usual and release those fish so they can get back down to the depths to where they're comfortable. They can recover quickly. Also, pay attention to your bites a little bit more, because usually if they do bite, usually they're just going to engulf it, so which means, they're going to choke it, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's going to be down deep. It's going to be harder to get rid of, to get that hook out. So just pay attention to your bites just a little bit more, so you can set the hook just a little bit, maybe possibly a little bit earlier before they just engulf it. Because like I said, if they're going to bite something, they're typically they're going to swallow it, so if you can prevent that, by all costs, please do. That'll help take care of the fish and, possibly not kill them. So, and if I could give you guys one tip, it's slow down, like slow way down when you're fishing this time of year, almost to the point where you're dead sticking baits and, letting it sit there and either just sitting there, twitching it, a little bit in one spot, depending on, dragging baits with hardly any pops in between, fewer pops. But I mean, 9 times out of 10, if you're fishing a drop shot or a big worm, or, any kind of straight tail worm or whatever, I mean, usually, you're casting out and you're like literally dead sticking it and, twitching it. These fish they just don't want to move around a lot right now. And that's kind of why I get away from, a lot of moving baits, unless it's like top water first thing in the morning, or it's just like that perfect day to throw a bunch of moving baits. But I mean, primarily it's just like, it's bottom contact baits right now. Yeah, I'm talking like, maybe even 2 or 3 minutes at a time between each cast, sometimes even more. That's how you're going to get the better bites this time of year. Your bites are usually going to come few and far between, but if you do these techniques, depending on what category, like I said, you can still catch some really nice fish and some big fish. So they just really just don't want to chase down a lot of baits right now. I feel like, they're already, majority of the fish are already sitting on bait. So, you guys just use those kind of techniques and you'll still catch some fish. All this being said, come late September, start getting into your fall situations, and man, that thermocline will go away. And that's when, we can start picking those moving baits back up and really start, those fish will start moving shallow again, and the bait fish will be there, and, that'll all change come back around fall time. So definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, just kind of wanted to take a few minutes, you guys, and talk about the thermocline and where to target these fish and some of the baits to catch them with. And let me know how your techniques and stuff work out. Drop some comments and I will absolutely reply. I would love to hear from you guys. So when you guys go fish some of these lakes that you guys fish, man, look for that thermocline and target some of those fish that are, above it. Yeah, man. So I appreciate you guys checking the video out. I'm still trying to reach my first goal of 100 subscribers. I really appreciate you guys if you could help me reach my first goal. And you guys, don't forget, man, these fish ain't gonna catch themselves, man. Go out there and catch a few. You guys have a good day. See you on the next one.